Good day all. Welcome to the third phase of Karmicville, as you all like to call it, Karmicville, right? It brings me no pleasure to be making this video, right? It brings me no pleasure to be making this video because I thought I'd done with this thing, right? But there are certain key aspects of society that needs to be addressed that I have not addressed it before. And I'm doing so at my own risk. I'm doing so at my own risk because the things that need to be exposed, there are particular truths that is actually dangerous to talk about. There are actually certain truths that are dangerous to talk about, right? Or one becomes a target for seeking these truths and for speaking these truths, right? Which is what happened to me, right? One becomes a target for seeking these truths and speaking these truths, right? But nothing in my life happened by coincidence or accident. There's absolutely nothing in my life that happened by coincidence or by accident, right? Everything would have led to this point right now and to this the manufacturing of this video, right? Everything would have led to the making of this video. This video is about the cult of Satanism and pedophilia. The cult of Satanism and pedophilia. Now, the reason why I shied away from this topic for a while is not because I want to, right? Is because it is so despicable and disgusting to even think about that. Even making this video now is disturbing to me, right? Is disturbing to me because of the kind of things that I know happen in the world, not believe, but things that I know happen in the world, right? And these things that happen in the world is not only one segment of society, like we've always been saying, this entire society is a satanic ritual. It's not just one aspect of society that is deeply involved in particular activities. It is a mixture of government, corporate entities, mainstream organizations, private corporations, governments, right? It's a combination of high level combined with technology, dark sides of technology, dark web, as you all know, right? I don't know a lot about technology, I'll admit that, and probably that's why I got myself caught up in certain things while truth seeking. But I am here to actually talk about what I came across while truth seeking, and this was during 2020 when I was doing research on this whole coronavirus pandemic. And you know, one thing leads to another leads to another, and so on. And that's how we discover knowledge, right? That's how we discover knowledge, right? So there was this particular video that I came across, and the video had a link. The video itself, the person was talking about pedophilia and the things that happen in the higher echelons of society, the realities that take place that are hidden, that are concealed, right? That in our everyday life we do not confront, we do not even know about, right? So the video was talking about these pedophilia rings and those involved in like activities, and there was a link in that video, a link to a particular search engine, right? Now I clicked it, right? There was a particular code, right? There was a particular code in that video that if you enter that code into the search engine, right? If you enter that code into the search engine, you would end up being tracked and monitored, right? You would end up being tracked and monitored, right? Now, some of us, unfortunately or fortunately, are blessed or cursed with the thirst for wanting to know, regardless if it's dangerous, for wanting to know the truth, regardless of if it's dangerous, right? Fortunately or unfortunately, some of us are blessed or cursed with the thirst for wanting to know the truth, even though it might be dangerous, right? Because it is actually what we are here to do. It is actually what we are here to do. It is our spiritual duty, right? So anyhow, input that code, which I don't recall now. I did not take a record of it because after I saw certain things, I just backed away from that website and that search engine, right? But it is an aspect of the dark web, the search engine that was in that video, as well as the code, right? So when you enter that code into that search engine, right, what it brought up was an entire host of young girls and young children between 1 to 2 years to about 10 or so, right? Children, right, being used as models and being sexually objectified, right? There was tons of photos of child. It wasn't, what came up wasn't exactly pornography, but it was sexual objectification, right? It was at least in that, for that particular code, right? It was photos of children, little children, right, from toddler to about 10 or so, or even younger, being utilized as models, right, as sex models, or sexually objectified, right, for the pleasure of God alone knows who, right? All the people who are involved in this pedophilia ring or whatever it be, right? I don't know exactly how this thing operates. I'm just saying from my life experience what my personal research have led to, right? Now, of course, in that video there was warnings to not to enter the code, right? Not to enter the code, or else you will be tracked. But like I said, people could track me all they want, they could monitor me all they want, right? People in high places could track and monitor me all they want. And that's why too, for the longest while, I've been getting like WhatsApp video calls from strange numbers, international numbers and so on, with people sending me sex videos, people sending me the most recent one I got was actually a man sending a sex video to me, and the profile picture of that person was a little child about 4 years old, was a little baby girl in a dress, in about 4 years old, right? This is in nature, right? And there's a reason that's why I said it brings me no pleasure or joy doing this particular video, because it actually disgusts and make me really sick inside, right? It's something that makes me really sick inside to be making this video, and it's something that could enrage one, can get one super enraged to the point of no return, and I really not in the mood to get that enraged right now. But the topic is one that is more disgusting than anything else, right? So me entering that site or that search engine wasn't me being a part of it, right? It was not me being a part of it. Me entering that search engine was for me to see what actually takes place in this world, right? firsthand, and that's just one aspect of it. That's just the technological aspect of it. What about the aspects that is actually manifested in reality, meaning the utilizing of these children, right, for whatever purposes, the real life children, not just photos, right, for whatever nefarious reasons that people use them for, right, and the like, right? So these are things that need to be actually brought to light and action be taken, right? Action be taken towards those who are actually involved today in those types of activities, right? And those types of activities where children are concerned. If you are an adult, you can feel free to by way of consent, consenting adults, feel free to do whatever you want to sexually. But when it comes to children, right? Obviously, right? You need to be a little more aware. You need to be a little more aware of the things that actually, people need to be a little more aware of the things that actually take place, whilst we are blindsided, right? Whilst our vision is blind to what is really taking place in the society. It's a very real thing. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes, right? It's a very real thing. And the video was warning people to not enter the code, right? The reason being is that once you enter a code into that system, it's like you become part of that system, and they actually monitor you, because only certain people could have access to that code or whatever it is, right? That would bring up this these images. And that's why I'm saying that certain things that I am here speaking about is not an easy thing for me to do. It's not something that I necessarily want to do, right? But it's a spiritual responsibility that I was charged with, right? It is a spiritual responsibility that I was charged with, and it is something that I have to do regardless of how I feel about it, right? Regardless of how I feel about it, right? And it is why I keep emphasizing the point that if you do not want to get caught up, right, by natural law, right? If you do not want to be caught up by natural law, by the effects of your actions, if you do not want to be caught up by the effect of your negative actions, and the only option that you have is to change your negative action, right? Change the things that you do, right, to the higher ups in society, who are involved in these pedophilia rings or individually involved in pedophilia activities. If you do not want to be caught up in the results of your actions, then the only option that you have is to change your behavior. The only option that you have is to change your behavior. The only option that you have is to change your behavior.